Hello, welcome to Brown Animation. And do you want to create something like this? In this video, we will be going through the process how you can create a model like this and how you print this thing. Printing part, I will be telling you in detail with a separate video. But for the modeling thing, I'll be showing you everything, each and every step which you have to do so to get this kind of a cute model. This is the Doraemon model. It's an anime character. I hope you are familiar with this character. Yeah, we'll be just going through the whole modeling side of this thing, and I'll be guiding you the ZBrush basics and all to create this kind of a character. Without wasting more time, we'll just jump into ZBrush and we'll see how easy it is to make this kind of a character. Hide the light box with the hide button and go to simple brush icon and choose a sphere, drag it on the canvas. With the edit button, you can go on to the edit mode. Then most important thing, you have to make it a polymesh 3, and you can change the material, that is a preference, and with the S key you can change the draw size, and you can turn off that dynamic button which is just beside this draw size. That will help you to change your draw size properly. And with the move brush, that is the most important brush in ZBrush which I regularly use, and with the X key you can turn on the symmetry, or you can go to the transform menu to find that there's a symmetry option, but X key is the toggle key for the symmetry option. So first stage of character modeling is the blocking of the whole character. So for that I will be appending different meshes for blocking the character. So with the append button, I have appended a sphere for the body of the character, and I have the reference on the others, and I'm continuously looking to it. This stage is for blocking. I want to get the silhouette of the character as close as possible so that I can add the primary forms and details later. So you've seen that I have appended a cylinder again. If you have some experience of breaking down the character, you can break down the characters or whatever you are making into basic shapes, basic cylindrical shapes or spherical shapes. That will help you to block out the character in a very good way. You don't have to do a detailed blocking, but yeah, for this kind of simple character, you can just block out with the simple shapes and try to get the forms and the shapes as close as possible, because it's not like we are going to make a perfect character in one go. We will just try and see that. We can also improvise this thing is later, so it's not a deal you have to make it perfect in a first go. You can change everything later also, but try to build your observation so that you can just make the blocking as close as possible. And you can mirror this thing by going to the Z plugin option. There is a subtool master and there's a mirror option. You can just go to that option and you can mirror the one side of a subtool to the other side. And you may have noticed that I am appending the object and I'm just moving that object up and down, not left and right. When I have to mirror the same object to the left side, then only I am moving the object to the right side, like this leg, hand. But for the body, I'm not doing that thing. And this is a flatten option. You just go to the setting icon onto the gizmo. There's a setting icon and you can just turn on any deformer whichever you want. So for this case, I have chosen the flat deformer, and with that, those cones, I have just changed the flatness of the sphere. Then again, I'm clicking onto the mirror option by going to the Z plugin, subtool master and mirror option. And with the default setting, I have just mirrored this thing. And I'm appending a cylinder again for the hands, and see, because I have to mirror this hand to the other side also, that's why I have moved it to the right side. And with the gizmo, I'm just placing it. And see, again I'm using a deformer called taper, which I have used in the leg also. You have to accept it after going to the setting icon and accept button, and that setting will be applied on this mesh. Again I am mirroring the hand to the other side. I have appended a sphere for the palm of this Doraemon character. Again, getting a mirror of this same palm on the other side. Then I have appended a ring. You can directly select your subtool without going on to the subtool menu by just holding Alt on a keyboard and clicking on the subtool which you want to select. And you can hide the subtool by going around to the subtool menu, and you can see a eye icon. You can just turn it on and off. With shift key, you can just activate the smooth brush and you can smooth it. I am using a very big size of a big draw size of a move brush, because that is helping me to get the forms and deformations in a big way. It's not like I'm using a small brush and my model is getting bumpy everywhere. It's not like that. If you use a big brush, you will be able to get the smooth and easy deformation on top of your character. See, here also I'm using a very big brush. Big brushes act with a very smooth fall off. That's why we don't see that kind of a bumpy thing going around the mesh. But if we use a small brush, the fall off will be less and you will get a very bumpy shape. So slowly you are seeing that our character is getting in shape. And in deformation tab, there are different settings. I would suggest you to go and play with these settings, because whenever I make characters, I feel like if I want to use deformation settings, then I just go and play with those settings, and whatever works for me, I just use it. Like in this case, I feel like my inflate thing, the inflate option is working out for me. So with inflate option, we can just inflate and deflate our meshes in a kind of equal way. You can see that there is a small XYZ written beside these inflate and every setting which is over there. So that means that that setting will act according to those axes. If your blocking stage is taking time, it's totally fine, because if you are blocking your character in a proper way, it will definitely reduce your work time later on. So try to block out your character as patiently as possible. Just be patient and try to block out the character and see the silhouette from every angle. Now I'm going to geometry menu, and with the divide button, I'm dividing the mesh so that my mask will come sharp. Because if you haven't divided your mesh, your eye count or poly count of this mesh will be less, so the mask will be kind of blurred. It's like pixels on an image. There's a pixel, or you can say tri count on this mesh, that determines your smoothness and your sharpness of this mask, or whatever you paint in ZBrush, whatever like poly painting or what, you need a kind of sharp and dense mesh so that you can get a sharp look of your paintings. In this case, I am painting a mask for the pocket of the Doraemon. And this is Control Alt. With Control and Alt, your mask brush will get reversed. Like with Control, you can mask the thing by holding Control on the keyboard. You can mask whatever you want to mask. Like you can see the mask brush is getting activated whenever I'm clicking Control. And with Control Alt, you can remove the mask. You have to hold Control Alt on the keyboard, and you can remove the mask. And with Control, you can see I'm just painting the mask, and you can see brush icon, it gets changed into this mask brush. And with Control Alt, you can remove the mask. You can drag out a mask also. Like if you want to paint, you can just paint onto the mesh, or if you want to drag it out, that will be like a drag rectangle kind of shape. Then you can go to extract option, then smooth to the 100 and adjust the thickness whatever you want. Then click on extract button, then accept button. If you feel like you just want this kind of thickness, you just press on accept button. Then after that you will get a separate subtool of that extraction. Like this pocket is a separate subtool now. So you can see that with polyframe button, you can turn on the wireframe of this mesh. Now the pocket is blocked out, and I will be changing some forms. Then we'll move ahead. I'm rotating the character from different angles so that I can see the proper silhouette of the character. So keep that thing in mind, that you have to rotate your character as much as you possible. I have appended a sphere, and I will be making the bell in front of this Doraemon character. And I have the reference on my other screen. You can look for a Doraemon reference, that you will find plenty of references, and you can follow those references. And for this bell thing, I have used some different methods. We can use some different method also, but this one is kind of basic, which I am using. So for that, I just taken a sphere. Then I have gone to the transform menu, activated the symmetry, and that too radial symmetry, and I'm changing the radial axis and seeing if whatever it's working or not. And I will activate the local symmetry button so that the symmetry will act according to this particular mesh only. I have done Ctrl 2-3 times so that I can go to this default axis. Earlier I have rotated this sphere, but I want this sphere in a kind of default pivot option so that I can just sculpt this kind of a shape on top of this. Then later on I can rotate this whole bell with gizmo. I have activated the symmetry in Z axis, and I will be making a mask for the whole of this bell. Watch this thing carefully. Maybe you will get some doubt later on, but if you watch it carefully, you will be able to make this thing on your own. So I'm making a mask right now. I'm making a mask with holding Control on the keyboard. I'm rotating it and looking it from different angles so that I can see how big of a hole we want in this bell, if it's looking good or odd. Then I have inverted the mask by holding Control and tapping onto the empty of the canvas. And with Control W, I have applied a polygroup on that mask, so that with Control Shift I can separate that polygroup, and I will go to this display property and we can click on double so that we can see both the faces of plane, both the side of the mesh. Then we can delete hidden. For that we have to go to the lower subdivision, so we will delete all the lower subdivision, and we will be on the 4th subdivision level and will delete it. The hidden part will get deleted. So right now we are left with this kind of mesh. Then after that I am going to remesh this thing because it's kind of a very high res model right now, because we have deleted the 4th subdivision level on top of it. Right now we are seeing that the mesh is getting kind of jagged. It's not giving me a proper topology. So we will be doing something else, which is zero meshing with guides. With Ctrl Z we have gone back few steps. We will activate Y symmetry and we will try to make this shape kind of sharp. With dam sander and the radial symmetry activated, I'm making these shapes a little bit sharper. I've increased the radial count so that I can get a kind of smooth circular type, sharpen edges. So right now we have selected the trim dynamic brush, and with that same radial setting, and we are just reducing the intensity so that we can get this kind of sharp plane. Trim dynamic brush will help you to get a flat plane while sculpting. You can flatten the surface with this trim dynamic brush also. And with the half button click, I am just going to remesh it. Right now the radial symmetry was turned on, that's why the remeshing option also applied the symmetry on top of our mesh. That's why it's totally capped, but we have to do the Ctrl Z. We'll turn off the symmetry. After turning off symmetry, we will again apply the Z remesh. Then we'll see what result we will get. So it's a decent mesh. We can apply the Z remesh again. You can see now we have started seeing the artifacts. So we will use Z remesher guide brush. With that we will create a line, or you can say a edge loop flow with this brush, so that our Z remesher will get a idea about the flow of this mesh however we want with this guide, and we will do this thing. So for this we have to increase the curve strength. We have increased it to 100 and we have again pressed Z remesh. So you can see it applied the. So you can see we haven't got a good mesh. So we will be doing Ctrl Z and we'll going to the deformation option, and we will apply polish crisp edges. We will apply after that. We will apply polish by feature. We will try different things. We will try to polish out the edges. Then again we will go to this Z remesher option and we'll just click Z remesh. Now we will see that we have a kind of good mesh. So we will Z remesh again. And we have started seeing a good topology on top of this mesh after polishing. So we will zero mesh this mesh for 2-3 times and we'll get a kind of decent low res. Then we'll move forward. I think this is enough. Now with dam standard and activating the symmetry, radial symmetry, we will just try to polish out the sharp edges again. Then again we will zero mesh this thing. We are going to Z modeler brush for giving it a thickness, and with the Q mesh selected and all polygons, we are going to give this bell a shell kind of feel, but we can see that those corner edges are not sharp. So we are going back with Ctrl Z, and I will be sharpening those corners with move topology brush. Then again, by going back into Z modeler brush with that setting itself, you can click on any face and you can just extrude out a shell out of this thin mesh. And now I'm going to insert and complete edge loop and trying to add an edge loop at the edges of this shape so that the shape will hold when we divide it. So we'll see that when I'm dividing, this shape is kind of little bit smooth and sharper also. Now with the edge polish brush and that radial symmetry, we are just polishing the surface to make it kind of smooth and flatten also. You can also use trim dynamic. Try different brushes and see what is working for you. And with the dam standard, we can, as usual, make sharp edges or cuts. After this, you can go out of the solo mode and you can see your bell is kind of looking nice. We can edit the gizmo by holding Alt, and if you hold Alt, you can see that on top of gizmo there's a small lock icon. That lock icon will get open, and then after that you can just edit the gizmo. And you can directly select a subtool without going into the subtool menu. You can, by holding Alt, you can just directly select that subtool and clicking on it. These are some basic stuff which I have already showed in my other videos, but for beginner artists, these are the most important things to get hang of so that they can move forward with their sculpts in a very kind of fluent way. I'm going to print this as a 3D model. Like I'm going to print it. That's why I'm looking it at as like, what if I have to print it like this? So how it will work out? So I'm looking it from different angles and adjusting the shapes, because later on I have to cut and do separate things. Like I have to separate the things for 3D printing. That's why I'm just looking it and planning it in my mind. But later on I will be making videos for 3D printing so that you guys can know what is going behind my mind. Now we are zero meshing this pocket part so that we can get a less resolution of mesh, because if you have a high resolution mesh, that is very hard to handle and hard to manipulate. But if you have a less resolution model, you can easily change the shapes and all. If you want to apply details, then obviously you need a high resolution model. But if you want to make changes in the silhouette and the proportions and the shapes, then you definitely need a low resolution model. I'm masking one side of a hand. Before that, we have to I have already done the auto group, but before rotating the hands, I merged the arm and the palm together. Then I masked one hand and I rotated the other one, because the things which are masked will not move. You can invert the mask by directly like holding Control on the keyboard and tapping on the empty area of the canvas. You can invert the mask. And for removing the mask, you have to hold Control and drag on the empty area of the canvas. So I'm trying to give it a pose, small pose, which is just the hands. First I blocked out this thing. And while I was blocking out, I was just using the A pose. Earlier this character was in A pose, the blocking was in A pose, but right now I am thinking of breaking the symmetry, and I will be changing proportions of the character here and there. Now let's start working on the face, and we are going to first dynamize this head sphere. You can say that we have dynamized it with a decent resolution, not that high. And again we are going to create a mask for the mouth of the Doraemon character. You can invert the mask. You know how you have to invert the mask. If you don't, then just try to remember it. It's just control tap on the empty of the canvas. And with the gizmo, we are going to insert this mouth inside. Or there is an option in masking menu. You can directly go to that option. Just click on it. Grow the mask. You can increase the area of the mask, and there is also option for sharpening the mask, so you can sharpen the mask also. So you can explore this masking menu also. If you face any doubt, just let me know in the comment sections. I will definitely help you, but I will be I'm planning to make separate videos of each and every menu in this the ZBrush. Each and every menu, each option, what those options will do, because there are many options which I haven't even touched since a very long time, which like I'm using ZBrush for a long time, but there are many options and I don't see that the every option is required in every model. So sometimes it's like don't explore every model. But if you guys want to learn those options, I will be definitely trying to make separate videos for each and every menu, so that you and me both of us can see what are the options in each and every menu. So here I am just using the smooth brush with holding shift key on the keyboard and smoothing out the thing. And you know that we have already dynamized it, and the dynamish is on. That's why when we hold control and drag on the empty of the canvas, dynamish got applied again. We were able to smooth it out. Now I have appended a sphere for the eye, and see, eye is a kind of I have seen with many students that eye is the kind of big issue and big concern, that they are not able to figure out how to make these eyes when the character is kind of cartoonish and all. Because if you see the reference of Doraemon, you will see that this is kind of a anime based character. So in anime based character, it's like those eyes are just drawn onto a circle or something, but here we have to figure out how those eyes will look in 3D. So we have to figure out that, but we will do something which is just as close as this human sculpting. So we'll try to apply those rules, because whether it is a character or whether it is a cartoon character or a human character, we have to have some kind of rules to follow while making characters. So you know that those are eyeballs, and like any creature's eyeball, they are tucked into a skull, and that skull has a hole. We have to create first that skull shape and that hole shape where the eyes will be there. So if you'll be able to create those eye holes properly, then you can put a sphere as eyeballs and try to adjust the forehead shape a little bit, then you can get the eyes properly. But first you have to see that where those eye holes will be there, like. And I'm changing the field of view to 25. You can see that I'm changing the angle of view to the 25, and I'm turning off that camera. And here is the sphere for our eyeball. Let's fit it in this. So you can see that I have scaled the eyeball. We're just modeling this character for 3D printing and for our 3D printing. That's why we are not caring about the rotation of eyeball or animating this eyeball. So we can deform it however we want. But let's say if we are making this character for this animation purpose, then maybe my approach will be different. So you can see now we have deformed that sphere into a kind of oval, flattened oval shape, and I'm just placing that oval shape into the eye sockets which I have created. Now this is the nose. This is a small red nose for Doraemon of this character. Later on I will be splitting this nose separately because it is kind of a sphere and everything is sphere here. The bell, the head, the palms, the leg, some are full spheres, some are flattened spheres. I will be separating these parts while printing because if I want to print a big model on photon mono 4K, I have to split my models in different pieces. But if I would have big printer with a big printing size, then I don't need to split my models in different pieces because I will prepare the file and those prints will already be big because the print size is big. So you can see that I'm trying to get the head shape. Ultimately it's round, but we have to have this feeling of a head or whatever the shapes feels like. If the concept shapes feels like round and sphere, then you have to keep those things in mind also. Now we will be adjusting this eye socket and eyes simultaneously to make it feel natural and okay from different angle, from front and side mainly. Masking out the top shape so that when I move this lip, the upper shape don't mess up. You can use masking in very different ways, but this is also one way. Like you can change stuff without disturbing the other. You just have to mask that other part. You see, while creating any model, it's not like you have a perfect way of doing things. Sometimes you have to go around and round to create something. Like it's not like that you will be following these particular steps and you will be able to make a good character. You have to know the tools, you have to know how to use the tools, and you have to have understanding what you are making, how you will be making, what are the basic forms, basic structure. You keep blocking it, refining it, detailing it, then you will have a character. And with the clay builder brush, I'm kind of making the upper lip of this character, which is kind of round and bulgy. And with the inflate brush also, you can inflate some surfaces. Like with the lower lips, I am using inflate brush. If you are using some brush and you can you see that brush is affecting the surface in a very big way. Like then after that, if that is happening, you can just decrease the density. You can just decrease the intensity of that brush. Intensity is basically the power of or the strength of that brush, how hard it will apply on the mesh. So if you have seen that on the inflate brush, I have reduced the intensity. That's why I was getting a kind of normal inflation. And by appending a sphere, I'm going to make a tongue of this character. And with the inflate brush and holding Alt on the keyboard, I can dig in with dig in the mesh also. Like if it's inflating, it can deflate also. Now with the damp standard brush, I'll try to create a overlapping kind of feel with the upper lip and lower lip. Then after that, it's just up to you how smooth and how clean you want your model to be. You can just do small deformations and you can just try to make your shapes clean. Like if your model will not look good if you have kind of messed up shapes, because shape and silhouette is the important thing which you have to keep in mind, because if they are clean, your model will look clean, and if they are messy, then obviously it will feel like it's made by some beginner artist, because beginner artists usually don't focus on these things, and they shouldn't focus on these things also. They should just try to make the character with proper understanding of the tools, and later on we can go for this clean model. But as a beginner artist, I guess you first I have to focus on getting the steps and the tools, how I'm using the tools, how I'm using the brushes, and at the same time try to make your model kind of clean. And here we are using pinch brush. See, pinch brush will pinch your surface, so in these kinds of situation it will help you. Then with damp standard brush you can make some forms which are not that sharp. You can make them sharp with this damp standard brush, like I'm using it here. And I have reduced the intensity of damp standard brush to get a kind of smooth and clean cut. And with this brush I am continuously using the smooth brush also by holding shift on the keyboard. Just try to rotate your model from different angles so that you can get a better view of the shapes in the form which you are getting. For big deformations, you have to make your draw size big. And I would suggest, if you are making changes with the silhouette and the forms of any shape, just make it with the big draw size so that you don't get a wobbly surface on the mesh, or else it will be like your model will get wobbly from each and every stroke. So we don't need that, so that's why we have to use this big draw size. Now I am appending a cylinder for creating this mustache kind of shape for this character, and after that I have gone to this deformer option by going to the setting icon on the gizmo. Then with the taper option, I tapered the cylinder from one side, and then accepted this mesh by going on to the deformation option again through that setting option, then accepted the mesh. And right now I'm placing this tapered cylinder with the help of gizmo. Again, I will be using a deformer for bending it, that is bend curve deformer. Like when you have this gizmo turn on, you can go to this setting icon. You can see there are 5 options, 6 options up on top of it, on top of your gizmo. So with the setting icon, you can go to the deformer tab, and you can change the bend curve deformer. Then you have to accept it, but if you duplicate it, you will get the same deformer option with the other duplicate also. That thing is active right now, so you can anytime go to that W or press W 2 times, you will get this kind of a deformer menu, and you can edit the shape. You just have to select the subtool, then press W 2 times, you will get that deformer menu. You can edit the shape, or you can edit the shape with the move brush also, big move brush, the big draw size. You can edit the shape. If you are seeing my other videos, you must be familiar with this kind of a deformer option, which is bend curve, taper. I'm kind of continuously using for creating these kinds of basic characters, and you can use it anytime. It's not like these options only will be useful in kind of basic characters. You can use it in some when you are going to make high-res characters or this detailed characters. You can use these options. You just have to know these options so that you can find a way to use them. Now I'm going to mirror it by going to the Z plugin, subtool master, and mirror option. I've merged everything, but I have to split this part so that I can get an exact merge of this 3 strands on right side. So for that I have went to this, I have masked the other mustache, and then went to split option. Then I used split mask point, and again I duplicated, then splitted part I deleted it, and again mirrored this thing with the same option by going on to the Z plugin. Then with the damp standard brush, I'm making the eyelid, or you can say the eye socket area, a little bit sharper. For this, make sure to decrease your intensity of damp standard, or else you will get a very harsh kind of shape. And right now I'm using this pen display or pen tab, you can say. You can do this thing with the pen tab also, but with mouse, if you are following my videos with the mouse, it will be kind of hard to do that, because mouse don't have this kind of a pressure sensitive thing. So with the pen tab, you have to make very small strokes and with the less pressure, so that you can get a clean kind of small deformation. And later on, if you are smoothing it, try to smooth it with the less intensity, You can decrease the intensity of the smooth brush also. You can hold the shift key, smooth brush will get activated. Then go to that intensity bar, and you can just decrease the intensity of that brush also. At some point you will feel like you just have to use your move brush to make the shapes proper, because you don't have to put too much detail in a character until unless you are meant to add details. But if this kind of a basic character is there, you can just make the shapes and the forms proper. See that your silhouette is proper or not, your silhouette is readable or not. If it's readable, your character will very much look good from a distance also and from close up also, because from close up if you will see it won't feel like a wobbly thing, and from afar if your silhouette is good, you can read the character properly. For this Doraemon character, you can see that if you will find any reference, you will see that this kind of round shapes going on from all over the body. And if this round shapes are following properly, you will automatically say that, yeah, it's looking like a Doraemon. It's that this thing is related to your character designing stuffs also. Merging different parts, which I think like they will be dynamized together, because I'm going to print it later on. So I am thinking about the combination of the shapes or combination of the parts which I can print together. Like in this case, I can print the whole body in single part. That's why I merged the hands and legs together and went to Dynamish option and Dynamish the thing also with the increased resolution. Now I'm applying polish by feature and polish feature so that I can get a smooth kind of shape. It's not dynamized yet. I'm dividing it 2-3 times with Control D. I've already merged the part, divided it, then with the increased dynamics resolution, I'm clicking on Dynamish and pressing no, and then it will get dynamized. You can see mesh is processing on the top, and it gets dynamized. Then you have to smooth it manually in some areas. You can go to the deformation option and try the polish by feature polish option also. But if you are doing it manually, you can do it also like that also. And if you are thinking your smooth brush intensity is high, you can decrease the intensity of smooth brush also by going on to that intensity option. For the brush, for every brush, that intensity, draw size, focal shape is same. You can access those settings easily. Now I'm thinking of merging that ring with the body, because I don't think like I have to print that ring separately. I can print it with the body itself. And later on, I'm going to upload the 3D printing kind of step of this character also. So stay tuned for that video. I've made this model few days back, and I'm printing. Right now I'm on stage of printing this thing and testing this thing whether it is printing out good or not, so that I can show you. And yeah, so far I'm getting some fails while printing this thing, but when it will be good to like show you guys, then I will try to show you how I did this thing, the printing stuff of this thing, and how I managed to face those fails which I am facing, and how I made the keys and all for this different parts. Because while printing, you have to get the whole model split it into different parts so that you can get kind of a big print. Because right now I'm having a photon mono printer, photon mono 4K, which is kind of a small printer, and it is just for the beginner printing thing. You are going to start at some point, you have to start, and if you want, after some time, if you want to print big models, you have to like cut your models into different pieces so that you can print different pieces and like make a big model, make a 3D printed model. Right now I'm dynamishing it and smoothing it out to get a kind of smooth shape. See, I'm decreasing the smooth intensity and then smoothing it because it was quite harsh. If you guys are liking my videos, just let me know in the comment section, because that will definitely motivate me to make more videos and kind of focus more on this thing, because after doing a full-time job, it's kind of hard to create videos and edit those videos and think of a content, and there are many stuff which are involved with the creation of the video, and my own learning stuffs are there. So I'm kind of facing different things right now. So if you guys are liking these videos, just let me know. That will definitely motivate me and push me to do even good, even better than this, so that I can help you guys. Because I guess learning ZBrush is like, most of you guys are commenting on the videos that these videos which I'm making are kind of simple and easy to understand, because when you go to ZBrush, it's very chaotic. The UI is kind of chaotic. You don't know where to start. But I have this very easy and a very good way of starting in ZBrush, and that is definitely helping others. So if you are new to this channel and if you are watching my videos, so just let me know that how you feel about these videos and what kind of other videos do you want to see. I'm kind of more into these cute characters and cartoon characters and stylized characters. I don't like I like it, but I don't like to create this realistic kind of characters and sci-fi stuff and this hard surface stuff. But sometimes I try to. If you guys want content related to those also, you can let me know. So that will be kind of a push for me to try that thing also. You can see I have chosen the skin shade 4 material, and I have applied this material on top of the eye, which is toy plastic material. And for applying materials and colors, I think if you are following my videos, you are already familiar with these things, or else I will put a link in the description. That is a polypainting related video, and that is very easy to get. You just have to select the mesh, or else I will show you in some other part right now. Just continue watching this video. I will show you. Like for example, for the bell, I have selected the material, then turn on the mRGB button, material and RGB, then fill object. So I filled up the golden kind of material onto this bell mesh. So this is very easy. You just have to select the material which you want to fill, select the color which you want to fill, then go to this top button where it is like an RGB, just turn it on. That means material and RGB colors. Then go to the color menu and just go down, and you will see fill object, and that material and that color will get filled. Right now I got a duplicate from the nose for creating the tail. Forgot to create the tail. This is very important. The tail is very simple, a sphere and a cylinder. So for beginner artists, these kinds of characters will definitely motivate them and like motivate you guys. Like it will make you feel like ZBrush is not kind of a hard thing to start. You can just start with something cute and basic, so that you can go move on to this real life characters and whatever you want. Like tools wise, it's not that complex. You can get it. There are many tools, but you don't have to use every tool, because if you feel like using it, just use it, don't worry. But I don't feel like I have to use every tool. If I'm getting a good character or whatever I'm making in a good way, then I can just use those simple tools itself. So I've changed the toy plastic material and choose the red color. Then I will turn on the mRGB button, then go to color and fill object. By that, you can just see that this red color is filled onto the nose itself. I will do the same thing for the tail sphere, so that red color will be there on the tail and the nose. Simple. It's just simple. You have to select the material, select the cutter, select the material, select the color, mRGB button, then just go to color and fill object. Easy. Right now I'm filling the colors to check out how it's looking with these colors and the overall feel of the character. I feel like the proportion of this character are a little bit off, but I will correct it. If these kinds of small adjustment to the silhouette and the forms it's very common. You have to just do it. You can't be so sure about your shapes and form that you get it in the first time itself. You have to go through this whole process and see see and feel your character whether it is looking good or not. Then after that you can just finalize your character at some point. It's not a rule that you have to make your character and make the shapes proper in the first way itself, because you can definitely modify it later on however you want. Here you can see I'm just changing the shapes with the move brush, and I'm keeping the draw size relatively big to the here you can see I'm changing the overall forms with the draw brush, like with the move brush. Here you can see I'm changing the shapes with the move brush, and I'm keeping the draw size quite big so that I can get a smooth kind of deformation. I've changed the color and changed the material to skin shade. Then I'm just going to color menu and filling that affected object, this mustaches in this case, with the fill object option. And I can play with this inflate option. Like you can play with this inflate option also. Inflate balloon. You can see what kind of changes they are making to your model, and if you feel like it's working for you, just use it, or else you can like change it with the manual inflate brush also. By Shift F you can see the polyframe. Then I'm going into Z modeler brush, and by hovering on an edge I just selected the delete command, and with that I deleted that last edge loop. And by hovering over a face, you will see there's this option will change, and with the default option you can just do the Q mesh thing. I'll be making videos about these Z modeler options later on, so stay tuned for those videos also. Right now try to follow what I am doing, because whenever you hover on a edge with a Z modeler brush, you will see different options, and if you are hovering over a face with a Z modeler brush, you will see different options. So those options, for now you have to see that whatever I'm doing, if you are a complete beginner, or else you can get an idea that what insert is doing. Basically I'm selecting insert in the edge loop mode, and the edge loop is getting inserted within that loop. So that is the insert option, and Q mesh is the thing which I did with the face to make it kind of thick. If you're facing if you're having any doubt with this Z modeler brush, Z modeler option, just let me know in the comment section so that I can be aware of this thing, that yeah, I have to make the videos about those stuff. Right now I'm kind of trying to make the full character, and whatever tools I'm using to make the full character, I'm just telling those tools to you. But specifically if you want to know about some specific tools, how to use it, just let me know in the comment section. That will help me and you also. So basically what I did with the pocket is, if you are used to Maya and ZBrush, I just kind of extruded the mesh, the faces of the mesh of this pocket in a thick way to make it thick, and yeah, then after that I just polished it with a smooth brush and this move brush, gave it a proper shape. That's it. Right now I'm changing the color and going to this paint brush so that I can paint on top of my model. With the, you can see that mRGB button on the top is on, and that material is skin shade, and color is there, and paintbrush is there. With this all setup, I am just directly painting on the model. This is poly painting. It's like painting on the poly group. It's not painting on the UVs right now. You can convert this poly paint into UV paint. Like you can just get a UV painted this map on a UV map. But for now, I think it's you can just use the poly paint because it's very helpful. For now, as a beginner, you can just use it. And if you are familiar with UVs and all, then just go with the other steps. And later on I will be telling you about these things, but for now I think if you are just starting to learn ZBrush and you are just exploring stuff in ZBrush, this poly painting thing is very helpful. You can just directly paint on top of your model, and it will look kind of good to show it to others. So here you will see that I have selected the white color, and the mRGB button on the top is on, and the shader is also selected, which is skin shade 4, and on top of it I just filled up the color by going on to the color menu and doing the fill object. Now I'm selecting a blue color, which is the main body color of the character. With this blue color selected, I've changed the focal shift. I made the brush as a hard brush so that I don't get any fall off nearby the edges of that paint stroke. You can see right now the strokes are kind of hard. It's not soft at the edges. There is no fall off. You can play with the focal shift option and you will see what is happening over there. You can also use stroke, lazy mouse. Go to stroke and go to lazy mouse. You can just turn on the lazy mouse for this kind of smooth transition, or you can have a smooth stroke while just creating one stroke. But I used that single like freehand stroke. It's your choice. There is option for lazy mouse, it's under stroke, and I have a separate video on the channel for this lazy mouse option. You can go and check out that video also. So now Doraemon is slowly getting into shape. Like, shape was there, but now we are letting the Doraemon to wear his clothes or his blue color fur. Later on we can try to make a video of creating a fur of this character from XGen, Maya XGen. I'll see that if I can make a video of the grooming of this character, the fur grooming of this character in Maya. Now it is time for the body. You can just tap on this color swatch and drag your mouse to the color in the viewport, and that color will get selected again if you want to do that. So in this case, I just want a white patch in front of the body, like a belly shape. That is white color for Doraemon. So I'm thinking I will just apply a mask, and then I will fill the rest of the space with that blue color. So that masked area will be the white color itself. So I'm planning for that thing. So you can use the masking thing or masking trick to fill up the color. Also, like, you can define the area where you want the color, and you can just fill up the whole space, leaving that masked area. So here you can see I have finished the masking part, and I have selected the color by dragging the swatch to that blue color and just painting with the paintbrush. You can also go to color menu and do the fill object. In this case, I just painted with the paintbrush itself. So you can see this is how our Doraemon is looking with the blue color. I don't know, maybe it's not exactly blue, it's like some shade of blue. Yeah. Now that pouch is of red color, that's why I guess I went to that tongue. I have to paint the tongue as red color in that ring. So I just selected the object, and pouch is of white color. So I just selected the object, selected the paints, and already mRGB button is turned on. So I just went to color and fill object. So you can see the tongue, the inside of the mouth, the ring around his neck, Everything is kind of painted. So after our coloring things, I have some doubts. I was having some doubts in the proportion of this character. So I looked that model from different angle, from a far distance, whether it's properly readable or not. So right now I'm just doing small tweaks, but at that moment I felt like I have to change the proportion of this character, because this character is kind of, if you know something about character designs, so it's like there are this definition of characters where you have head counts, it's like this Doraemon character is around 2 heads of like size. It's like if you cut his head from his like neck, so that area and the body area is similar. The height of both the areas are similar, and like normal human figure is around 7 heads or 8 heads, 7.5 heads or 8 heads. So is the proportion is like a general idea of the proportion. So for this Doraemon, it's just 2 heads, I guess. So I was feeling kind of this. I had a feeling that the bottom part of this character is getting kind of long. So I thought of just editing it. For editing, masking is the best thing. Just create a mask and blur the mask by holding Control and tapping on the mesh, or you can go to the masking menu and blur mask. There is a button for blurring the mask. Try to invert the mask, then also blur it so that it get blurred from both the sides. So with that, I just turn on my gizmo and pulled up the legs a little bit. And trust me, you will see the difference. You will see the difference after this. I'm just using masking for editing the overall proportion of this character. See, that is the beauty of modeling. That is the beauty of sculpting things, because you can edit it, you can change it, you can. So with this all final tweaking and with all this hard work, you have successfully completed this model if you are following with me, or else just go with the flow and try to make this model. It's simple, basic shapes. You'll get very good knowledge of how to create cute characters and how to create the proportion. What is the head count of what is the head count for a character and all. And first, like, mainly it will make you friendly with Zbrush. Actually, Zbrush is not scary, but people think that it's scary. It's not. It's very easy, seriously. And so you have successfully completed this character, and I have completed it too. In future, I will definitely upload a video regarding the preparation of this file for the printing, for the 3D printing, which I am doing. So stay tuned for those videos and for such beautiful content. I hope these are beautiful, and for these type of contents, and I'm exploring different stuff. For all those stuffs, just join with Brown Bear Animation, and I'll be happy to help you, and I'll be happy to create videos after my full-time job. So let's see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching the video, and if you like the video or this video helped you in any way, just give it a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. Thank you.